Hey, how you doing?
Well, hello everyone.
Hey, Big
Hello,
D, Mr.
everybody.
D, Dan, George Peach, and whoever else happens to be lurking.
Good to see everybody. Hey, Brian. Hey, Robert.
Hey Dan, Robert.
Um, I guess we'll just get this show right on the road. Um,
We might as well. Hey Aussie.
hey, Aussie.
I give people a couple of seconds to get in here and see who's going to show. Well, I guess we're going to cover a few different topics tonight. Things seem to be popping up every minute.
Yeah, that definitely seems to be the thing.
Yeah,
Most definitely. It's
yeah.
been interesting, that's for sure.
Uh,
Hey, Aussie, Aussie.
well, in that case, I'm lighting me a smoke.
You can do that.
I'm going to do that.
Although you might not be able to say smoke on YouTube, but that'll
Yeah,
Okay,
be,
do
that'll
that.
be
I'm gonna have me a fag. How's that?
yeah.
Oh, no, you did it. Or you she did.
Oh,
Oh yes, I
we are
did,
doomed now.
and I mean that in the most of respectful ways to the tobacco industry.
I did not expect that response. I should know Robert by now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're correct, Big D. You almost need a dartboard nowadays.
Hey, Ronald,
Hey,
welcome.
Ronald, don't digitalize me. That's a new one.
Good to see you around, Robert. Ronald. Robert, too, by the way.
It, and there's a good reason why I said that, Dan. It actually has to do with what we're going to talk about tonight. It's little shit like that
Mm-hmm.
that is totally harmless and innocuous that seems to get so many people's panties bent out of shape.
Yeah.
Uh, and I mean that totally in a secular way
Yes.
uh, to qualify that. It
Yeah.
Stephanie.
and what a lot of people don't realize is this stuff is. How you doing, Stephanie? Good to see you.
Hey, Stephanie. It's all these it's all these things that all these little issues. Well, little issues. I guess I can't say they're little issues, but there's all these issues coming up that are actually sidetracking. Well, not um, causing division amongst so many people. Uh, it's when you're looking at the bigger picture, it's it almost seems coordinated. I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but
Well, it is the WF and through all these organizations, it is coordinated. And I'm not trying to sound conspiratorial, but when you have the director of the WHO and the director of the World Bank sitting on a fucking a board deciding what they're going to do with the rest of the world.
Yeah.
That's not conspiracy. That's not, you know, they want people to think that, but it's not the case. How you doing there, Rob? Good to see you. Last responder. That's a new one for me.
It's definitely very coordinated. It's funny that you use that phrase, Robert, because my son and I just finished having a 4-hour conversation yesterday about many subjects, and global coordination of certain events was one of those discussions we had. And I made him aware of a couple of things that we had discovered, which he was not aware of. And he was not pleased. He was actually quite vehemently angry because of his situation.
Well, on a good note, I did manage to get a couple people today, believe it or not, from the mechanic shop informed.
Great.
And they actually listened.
Nice.
That's
good news.
It was what I told them was taken very productively. You know, so it's not as what they're doing by what's going on is they are trying to make people feel like they're like you're part of a minority group when it comes to this type of stuff, and we truthfully are not. As been pointed out before in our past panels, when you look at the I can say vaccine now, I think only 12% of Canada and 16% of the United States have gotten any boosters at all. Okay, that should tell people something, that it isn't a matter of which side of the aisle. It's a matter of people being tired of being lied to.
Yeah. I'm finding the same thing here too. People are actually on the street talking about different issues that they weren't talking about very recently. So, as a result of various information getting out across the internet, I think it's making people begin to realize that we aren't alone as much as we thought.
And we're not as a smaller group as what people would think. Now,
yeah,
mind you, what we're talking about tonight is we're going to touch upon some of the things that keep us from being effective. You know, it's, and we also have to realize that they are actively trying to throw a monkey wrench into stuff.
Yeah. Very actively trying to throw a monkey wrench in there. And it's not a small one either, a large one. They're trying everywhere.
Miss T, I am glad to hear that. Man, am I glad to hear that.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Oh, that is brilliant.
So you would think with the numbers coming out, those that have not gotten the booster, I think there's a lot of people in agreement now that what went on over the last few years, as far as that is concerned, would come together and really fight against what steps the WHO and the UN and the WEF are putting together to gain control of what happens in every aspect of our life. But with all these other things going on, climate change, LGBTQ, left and right, if you go to the SDG, the 17 goals for sustainable development, you will see that it sort of links back to each category, and it feels to me like a coordinated effort to divide people. There's less and less divide on what's going on with vaccines. So now, and they knew that would happen because the data doesn't show their narrative.
Well, and reality doesn't show their narrative.
Yeah. So it's coming. It seems to be. So if you divide these people into race and gender and climate change and all these other things that are going on, the people that agree on what's going on with the vaccine will not come together and come together to fight what's really going on at a much higher level.
Yeah, that's going to affect us all, no matter what your little. I shouldn't say little. That's the wrong term to use. No matter what the differences are between people, the commonalities that we're going to give up is far larger than any of those.
Yeah.
I did read today, and I should have said that. I was up at the thing at the shop and I was reading it. A lot of these corporations are backing off on the ESG thing.
Well, they've
gotten so much pushback.
Yeah. So people that don't know, the ESG is
economic, social, and governance.
Yeah. So they rate companies on sustainability,
equity,
and
I'm not talking about money either.
No. And then if you look into the actual financials of these companies that have signed on to the the SEG is the rating system for the SDG, and
here we go.
The companies that are signing on to the SDG that are being rated are not as profitable as the other companies, and it's been even without these systems that they're trying to put in place, logging, mining, in the first world countries have come a long way to clean up their act and still be profitable. But with all these rules and regulations, the whole economy is being stifled, and
it's being destroyed. Let's put it for what it is.
It's being destroyed for basically no gain. So
there's always a payoff somewhere. So
yeah, don't feel bad, Dicker, but Dave. Me too. I need an acronym for the acronyms. It's
Yeah,
called
acronyms, mate.
my acronym is GFY. I'll let you figure out what that means.
This is not W2F, WTF all the time.
The something I'd like to touch upon, Hard Place says it's Marxist globalists have already infiltrated governments, things like that. And I'm going to say this as succinctly as I can, and this might get us dinged, Brian, is what they're doing is very much a Marxist agenda.
Yeah, definitely.
If you look at Mao or Stalin or any of those, what they're doing is almost like they're doing it play-by-play, right out of the playbook. And it's working. People sit around and fight over their little petty issues, and I got to quit using the word petty because to some people they're not petty.
Yeah.
But their own personal agendas, and they got to get past that to understand that if we don't have equal rights, and we're going to touch upon that too because there's some equality not happening lately.
Yeah.
Then we all lose.
AMC.
It doesn't matter what side of the street you're on. We all lose. Go ahead, Dan.
I was just acknowledging AMC. Also, in regards to what you just said then, that's why I brought up the importance of knowing history, because I was thinking when I made that statement in our last panel of people like Stalin and the Marxist movement and exactly the effects it had across Russia at that time were absolutely atrocious, evil stuff. And that's why I brought up last week or whenever we had the panel last time. Please look back at history. You'll see the same playbook being played out many times before.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. And it's there. It seems when people start coming together on one issue, there seems to be another issue that will pop up and separate the people that are coming together for an important issue.
Yeah. I would like to rephrase the word pop up to another issue that has been purposely thrown in the pool to cause dissension.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's not just popping up. It's like, oh, we'll add this into the recipe now, just so it stirs it up over here, so they don't focus on the real thing that we want to do.
Hey, Roger, I need a way to contact you because I wouldn't have minded having you up here today.
I've got a way to contact them. I'll get them your details.
Why don't you send him the panel link?
Okay, cool.
That's up to you if you want to come up, Roger.
Panel link. I will grab it. Bear with me, Roger.
So we all know that there's certain things that we all believe. We all don't believe the same thing. That's the problem is if we don't have those rights to be able to believe or think the way we want to, and we don't defend the rights of others to do the same, then we have a problem. Now, I'm not saying to the extent of absurdity. That's another problem we have, is that's been used against us.
There you go, Roger.
Because it allows people to take stuff to the extremes, and they're trying to normalize that, be it social issues, be it economic or whatever. And I don't think I need to have to point those out particularly. I think people understand what I'm getting at. and where you have a very small percentage of the population, i.e., less than 1%, on a couple different things that literally are tearing our countries apart. How you doing, Roger?
Hello to you all.
Great to see you, Roger, as usual.
Good to see you guys. So you wanted me on. Can I ask you why? 'Cause-
Because I like your perspective as far as the Netherlands and what's going on.
Okay.
I do watch your stuff, and I think you're very well tuned in.
Yeah. Yeah. Last time I was live was like yesterday, or no? Yeah, yesterday. Because yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and we talked about the Sykes Accord. You know, the Sykes-Picot Accord, and it's basically about the Middle East. You
Yep,
know, the Ottoman Empire fell, and
yep.
it's been divided by England and France. So, you know, we cover that. So, yeah, it's just history. You know, history, and give give a good view on what's really happening. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's why I go live, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think you make some good points about a lot of that stuff. And what people don't realize is they're doing this everywhere.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and they're using that as a tool to keep, you know, if you're going to rule over a population of people and you're an asshole, what's the best way to keep them from pointing the finger at you?
Point them to another asshole.
Get them fighting between themselves.
Yeah.
Keep them divided. Yeah,
Yep.
Keep throwing pebbles in the pond. Keep the ripples going.
exactly.
So what are the big? This might be a loaded question, but what are the big issues that are dividing the Netherlands right now?
The Netherlands has kind of become like international stage, you know. So the LGBTQ community is introduced in the Netherlands, and pride flags and this and that, and that's one thing that divides us, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the one of the points I was making is percentage wise, that is a very actual small part of the population comparatively speaking.
Yeah, they project a minority and they say to the rest of the population, you have to live like this, you know, or you have to accept this.
Exactly.
And it's not fair, in my opinion.
No, and it's not. And what they want to do and what they're doing, and this is what pisses people off and keeps them divided, is they want not only they don't want equality, they want to be treated special.
Yeah.
They
Mm-hmm.
want to be able to, you know, have their cake and eat it too, so to say.
No, it's
And,
very
go ahead.
sad to see. You
Yeah,
know, it's very, I
But
mean,
if you look at it from a little higher perspective, uh, it's government that are pushing these things.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's not just government; it's
Or
corporate.
yeah,
It's the ultra rich with their whole plan of humanity for tomorrow. They have the ideas of how they want the world, and right now we're in consolidation phase, and people don't see it. They're literally consolidating economically,
exactly.
politically,
If you look
socially.
at if you look at America, for example, they want to make a North American Union. You
Yes,
know, Canada, America, and Mexico all stuck together as one union, as we have over here in Europe. We have the European Union, so that's what they're planning to do over there. And if you look at South America, Lula, the president of Brazil,
Oh yeah.
invited a lot of South American countries, and they're planning the same to do as the Union, as the Europe, the European Union. It's a blueprint.
Well,
And
and
they want.
another thing that like they're doing here, and I don't know if Brian's had a chance to look at this, but they're literally creating little cities for a lot of these
Mhm.
illegal immigrants coming across the border. I didn't believe it until I seen the damn videos of the stuff. I mean, they're literally one place, and there's several of these with 32,000 acres
Yeah,
that they
this is
have
how, this is
set up and mapped out, and they're moving them in.
this is how you attack a country without even attacking them.
Exactly,
Very much so.
and that's just crazy.
Hmm.
Um, when you think about it from a social standpoint, not just economically, our systems. Well, first off, economically, our systems weren't designed to be able to accommodate extra 2, 3, 4 million people who have contributed nothing to our form of government and our social nets. But yet they're passing it out like it's candy.
It's the same. It's the same over here in the Netherlands. That's also a topic that divides a lot of people because there are lots of people that say you're welcome here, and lots of people that say we have no housing anymore. So we can't welcome you here. So it's a very dividing thing. Yeah.
In New Zealand, we don't have that issue because the infrastructure here is already under pressure in terms of accommodation, food supply, and it's all being manufactured.
Mm-hmm.
But, there is no reason for a country like New Zealand to have lack of housing and lack of food supply. No reason at all.
Well, and then on top of it, and I know Roger can to attest to this, they're destroying the food production on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And they ain't going to tell me that it's for climate change or whatever because that's bullshit.
Yep.
They're doing it to basically get people to be fighting over less and less.
Mm-hmm.
Like here where I'm at, I never, ever up until these past few years did I ever walk into a store that half the shelves were empty. Never.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's become a normalcy.
What about this?
The wife makes the list and she goes there and she says, well, I couldn't get everything because they didn't have this, this, and this. That's never happened here. Never.
What about this? We have New Zealand that produces meat globally. And you walk into a supermarket and half the chillers are half empty. In a damn supermarket.
Yep.
In a country that produces top quality meat. There is something else going on, and that's not a conspiratorial thing to say because I see that on a daily basis. I walk into the supermarket and I'm in a place where there's farms all around me. They produce meat constantly. There's no excuse for food supply issues. None
Over
whatsoever.
here, they want to cut the farmers, right? And
Same here.
it's very sad to see. You're talking about generations of farmers,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the only thing that they know, and the government is, stealing it away from them. Very, very sad to see. There are many farmers that have hung themselves because of all this.
Yeah. The suicide rate for farmers
and you're absolutely correct,
here
Roger.
is up
They're
on the
stealing
rise
it
too.
from them.
Hmm. And what can we do as a population? That is the main question. You know.
The I can't say what I'd like to say, but
I know what you want to say.
yeah,
Yeah. You just are not allowed to say it.
correct.
And that's why I mentioned the word manufactured. These issues, these speaking from my point of view, with the housing issues here and food supply and many other issues are manufactured. It's manufactured.
Oh,
Mm.
absolutely.
This is how they contain their power. You know, they manufacture all these crises and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Well, and here's the other thing, though, Roger. The people who are doing this keep themselves out of reach from the average person.
Yeah,
You know, the politicians,
exactly.
we can all go bitch at and do whatever, but the ones who are really doing this are out of reach from the average person. So the only recourse we really have is to go after our politicians, and we need to get rid of, like when Roger's talking about the LGBTQ and I'm talking about immigration, we're talking about all these things that divide people, or religion, or whatever. It doesn't matter. That keeps us from getting rid of the people in our government who shouldn't be there.
Mm.
I mean, our next election coming up is going to be an absolute zoo here in the United States.
Yeah.
It's going to be a zoo.
That's every 4 years, right? Every
Yeah,
4 years, it's a big zoo, and you know it's chaos.
yeah, and it's by design.
I know.
Well, it makes it a lot easier because, for instance, at work yesterday, there was a crew of 10 people there, and out of the 10 workers that were there, only two people knew who their MP was. That's for Canada. That's our member of Parliament who represents them. 2 out of 10 people knew who their MPs were.
Yep.
Well, you see, politics is very boring for the average person.
And
They'd rather look at a hockey game or whatever.
But see, that's bread and circuses now, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's, even with my daughter, my son-in-law, which thankfully I've finally gotten to listen. People, there's a breakthrough too there, Miss T.
Wow, that's a
I
big
have
deal.
finally, yes. And instead of talking about what was going on, he's more interested in watching the damn football game. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah, politics is very boring for the average Joe. You know, yeah. I think it's the most interesting thing in the world, but people think otherwise.
Well, but here's the thing, though. You don't, when you're watching a football game or basketball or hockey or soccer or whatever, it doesn't matter. You don't have to use your brain, and you don't have to think. But when you're talking about the people who govern you, if you're not going to be engaged with the people who govern you, you might as well just hang it up. You've already given up. You've already put your own chains on.
Politics
6-3. I know that. And you don't even have to have your face public. Trust me, I've already been targeted twice.
Yeah.
Outside of YouTube.
Politics is very easy. It's about power.
yeah, as individuals going up against the government, you don't stand a chance.
No.
as many people, with many people going against the government, you're guaranteed to win. But the issue is not enough people are paying attention to what's going on. Because if they were, there would be more involvement.
Well, historically, there used to be 50, 60, 70 years, well, after the Great Depression and the World Wars, people paid more attention because they understood the ramifications of not paying attention.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we already have wars going on in this country or in this planet that shouldn't be happening. We have the threats of wars that shouldn't be happening. We have economic destruction of countries that have been stable for a century or better. But yet we're still at the point now where they've got people so divided across the Western world. Well, I should just any country that isn't either a dictatorship or authoritarianism are being ripped apart. Be it socially, be it economically, be it whatever you want to use. They absolutely are.
Exactly. It's like we lost track of who we are, basically.
Correct.
You know, we're being led by shadowy organizations like the World Economic Forum and Bilderberg, and those organizations that are not democratic at all. And it's people are not interested in politics, and that's basically it. It saddens me to see that there's the cremation of care at the Bohemian Grove.
Oh, geez.
It's like, what the hell?
That's not conspiracy theory at all. They actually do that shit, and if I explain to you what that means, most people wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, it's basically a ritual where they absolve themselves from what they're going to do, right?
Correct.
So they're going to create war, and then very, very sad.
Well, and the act itself and the way they do it, the whole ritual, is disgusting enough. Considering what they I can't say what they do, but what they portray, because I have no proof of the otherwise. But it wouldn't shock me one bit in the least. And most people don't understand that they believe that shit. That's the way they live.
Nixon went there and he called it a faggoty club or whatever,
Yeah. Yeah, and you look at Nixon, how he got raked through the coals for something little compared to what we have going on in government nowadays. That wouldn't even have been a blip on the news radar.
Yeah, it's like as government is expanding itself, right? The more corruption comes.
Yep.
And the Democratic Party has always been a party of peace, this and that. Well, not anymore. Now it's about transgenderism and very weird alien thoughts. It's like, what? Is this a Democratic Party? Kennedy, he was a Democratic president, right? And he had a very famous speech of lasting peace and stuff like that. I never heard a Democrat after him say that,
Yeah. Let me address the chat real quick. 6-3. Yeah, and I agree with you, and that's the whole idea too. Also, for small government, your communities and your leadership in your communities are what's supposed to be led by the example, not by politicians in federal governments. And I know your other one. I can get lots of proof too, but I couldn't do it on YouTube. Stephanie, IMF. Yes, you're very correct. The IMF is part of it, but they
Yep.
aren't the only part.
No.
There's many factors and factions that go into that.
There are many cogs in the machine that keeps the machine, working. And the IMF was one of those cogs, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and if you look at Ukraine right now, there's like this. There was supposed to be an offensive by Ukraine going into the east, into the Donbass, but they halted the offensive, because they already lost so many tanks and stuff like that.
Yep. And when you look at that all and what's going on, I don't care what side they're on, whatever they believe. It's no more than kabuki theater.
Exactly.
That's being done on purpose.
Hey, Rick. Good to see you.
How you doing, Rick?
Think about that, right? It's been done on.
Blame the Kiwis. Damn you.
It's been done on purpose, right?
Yep.
Think about it. How many people have died in Bakhmut?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And just so you know, I'm a combat veteran, so I'm well aware of what war is and what costs are. And it just pisses me off to no end to think about what's actually happening. And it isn't and I'll say this as succinctly as I can. It isn't the politicians. It isn't the ultra rich. It isn't the sons of, so we say, Klaus Schwab and all them that are out giving their lives for what they believe in or being put in a position to where they have to. And Stephanie, yeah, elites, put them in quotes, call them parasites because that's what they are. They're parasites to society.
You know what really shocks me? America attacked Iraq because of the weapons of mass destruction, this and that. And then Bush gave a speech, some kind of comedic press thing, where the White House and the press had come together, and he was saying, where are those weapons? They're not here, and laughing about it.
Yep.
People have died, giving their lives and stuff like that. And you have a president laughing about it. It's really disgusting, man. Really disgusting.
Well, look at Hillary when they went in and took out Gaddafi.
In Libya.
She was cackling the whole way. She thought it was funnier than shit.
Benghazi.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Christopher, we will never forget Christopher Stevens. Right? Now, some people may question themselves, who is that? That was the ambassador, the U.S. ambassador to Libya, who died.
Yep. I'm gonna address 6 one more time. 6-3. The when government is smaller, when they have less control over people's lives, the greedy and the corrupt tend to not last too long because the local communities take care of those problems. Mm-hmm. Whereas now they're protected. They're a protected class by our federal government.
It's rules for thee, but not for me, right?
Yeah. Fine example of what's going on with the Bidens right now.
That was a good segue.
Yeah, that's a good segue.
Nice switch. Well done.
They're making a deal where he's going to, well, they already did it, where he pleads guilty to bullshit charges And part of the plea deal is they can never charge him for anything else.
What about Trump, though? You know, because Trump is being charged for
For bullshit.
whatever. You know, eating a sandwich or whatever.
Not that Trump's any saint, because he certainly is not. But the stuff that that's been going on with him is absolutely ludicrous. Whether you agree with the guy or not makes no difference. Because if they can do it to him,
they can do it to anyone.
Going to do to us in the future.
Exactly.
Well, any government left to its own device is going to become corrupt. And
Yes.
Unfortunately, we as citizens of our respective countries have not held our government accountable.
Not
to
done
where,
our due diligence.
Yeah, to where at this point it doesn't matter which government gets put in, you're going to see corruption.
Yep.
And it's all under the veil of democracy, right?
Yeah.
But if you define democracy, demos kateos, demos is the population, and kateos is the way of governing, right? The population governs.
But the word democracy in itself should never be a goal.
True.
Because democracy does not guarantee you inherent rights. Which is why in many of our countries we thought when you have a republic and a constitution and a bill of rights, those rights are guaranteed. That the government, what people don't understand is those things aren't given to you by the government. They're inherent to the system just by the mere fact that you were born.
Freedom is not free. You have to fight for your freedom.
Correct.
You know?
I'd like to address that just for a second. They cannot prove they counted your vote, so why would you believe they do? That's basically irrelevant. If enough people hold whoever gets in accountable, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter who gets in. If people just go and put their head in the sand and let government do what they want to do, then everybody's losing.
Plus, and also with the same comment, it's a very defeatist way to view the world. It's like, why try? Well, try because you should try, because if you don't try, everybody loses, including yourself.
I compare society as a rat race, right? If you win the rat race, you're still a rat, right? So you have to change society. And by doing that, you have to be involved within politics. And, you have to not be involved in the parties. You have to stay outside of the parties, but be involved in politics. Say your voice. Use it.
But use it for the right reasons, not petty agendas.
Exactly. The LBDQ, whatever, that's petty agenda, my opinion.
Yeah.
It's being encouraged and being made something that really isn't an issue by the government to divide people. It's what it is. You look at just the fact that when they, a few years back, you would have Pride Day celebrations. Then you get into 2020, and then it's the government is supplying funding for Pride Week. Now we're into Pride Month, and once we got into Pride Month, then they started calling it Pride Season, and all that is to make people angry and to divide, because everything about COVID is coming out, and they can't use mask and mandates and lockdowns anymore with COVID, because they know it would be a riot. So now the big thing is the really big thing in the last is climate change. You look at our in Canada, they changed it from the Environment Canada to Environment Canada and Climate Change is the official division now.
It's all bullshit.
It is, and we will do a panel on climate change coming up.
That's going to be interesting because there's a lot of information in there.
There's just but I'm not exactly sure how to deal with all this divide that's going on. But it is definitely
and hard place.
It is definitely just didn't happen. And it's just not one side of the government or the other, left or right. It's government, and we need to put aside these distractions. Find the common ground, because I truly believe the majority of people believe. Well, no, I can't say that. There's the evidence shows what's really going on. It's people that aren't paying attention. It's like the 8 out of 10 people I asked who their MP was didn't know who they were. It's those people that are going around with their heads in the sand that need to be educated, shall we say?
Hey, Canada. Do you know about the Empress of Ireland? You know about that? The Empress of Ireland. Have you heard of it?
No, I haven't.
That is the Canadian Titanic, right?
Okay.
It's a ship that sank in Canada, and it's not well known because it happened before the First World War, 1914. So, yeah, you should look it up, Empress of Ireland. And for everyone listening, look it up, do some history. I, as a foreigner, know more what's going on in Canada and Canadian history than Canadians. It's very odd. But look it up, Empress of Ireland.
I shall try to find time to look that up.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So next time I'll ask you.
Yeah. I'll be looking forward to the quiz.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Let's on that note, let's take a look at how we're distracted. I had planned to do this differently, but we'll go this route.
Yeah. So this is for
Now-
anybody who hasn't seen this. This is a liberal MP explaining why, explaining how they kind of how they got
Screwed
the
everybody.
emergency use authorization for the vaccine.
These agreements require employees of the government of Canada that access these documents to sign confidentiality agreements. And why is that? Why is there much more redactions, as my colleague said, in these documents than in other documents? It's because these documents were signed at the beginning of the pandemic, when everybody was desperate for vaccines, when companies were being told to rush vaccine production, do testing in an unprecedented way, in a way they normally don't do it. So these companies were exposed to way higher liability, putting their products on the market than they normally would, because they didn't do the type of testing that normally takes these drugs years to come to market. They did it all in less than a year.
Can you just scroll that back just a little bit and pay attention to what he says? Yeah, that's definitely
Ability, putting their products on the market than they normally would, because they didn't do the type of testing that normally takes these drugs years to come to market.
that.
Yeah,
That
they didn't. Go ahead.
That pretty much says it all. They didn't do the testing that they would usually do to bring the drug to market.
They don't care. You see,
Nope, they don't.
It's all about money. It's all about money.
It's the government, the FDA. The FDA kind of rules the decisions for U.S. and Canada. Canada bases their decision off of basically the FDA. Although we do have a review board in Canada, but these agreements were signed with NDAs and no liability to the pharmaceutical company, because the pharmaceutical company wasn't comfortable because they weren't able to do the usual studies and trials.
Yep.
That's right from that's somebody trying to defend the decision for the approval of these vaccines.
Yep.
That's quite the argument.
Definitely. Hey, Northern Farm Girl. Good to see you.
Hey, NFG.
Hello, Northern Farm Girl. Are you allowed to talk about the origin of this unspecified virus? Okay. I haven't been on YouTube for, on panels.
There's no debate now that it was created in the lab.
Yeah.
And they knew about it. All governments knew about this months prior to it coming out. Any of them that says they didn't are liars.
I knew about it. I was streaming live about it, and I got banned. Well, not banned, but temporarily banned.
Yep.
On Facebook and YouTube and stuff like that,
I knew something was going on in late November of 2019. And now we know that they knew about it in August of 2019, at least. And I guarantee you, I would bet that they knew about it long before then.
Gain of function research.
Yes,
Yeah.
gain of function research. Yes.
So you'll find the links to these videos in the description.
Yeah, I'll play a quite humorous one here real quick.
Yeah.
Oh,
Give me
here
a
we
second.
go. Here we go. Get ready for the Bigfoot, guys.
Let's see how quickly narratives change.
While Peter Hotez demands censorship and international action against foreign countries, he has contradicted himself at virtually every turn throughout the COVID era. In the first year, when Trump was still president, Hotez warned about the dangers of rushing vaccines under emergency use authorization.
I don't think EUAs have a place for vaccines. We've never done an emergency use authorization for a major vaccine released to the public. What does that mean? We know it's a lesser quality review. What's the FDA going to do to ensure public safety?
While Hotez may have had political motivations to cast doubt on the coronavirus products, he had good reason to be concerned. In March 2020, Hotez gave congressional testimony to warn about the dangers of coronavirus vaccines.
One of the things that we're not hearing a lot about is the unique potential safety problem of coronavirus vaccine. With certain types of respiratory virus vaccines, you get immunized, and then when you get actually exposed to the virus, you get this kind of paradoxical immune enhancement phenomenon. We started developing coronavirus vaccines, and our colleagues, we noticed in laboratory animals that they started to show some of the same immune pathology that resembled what had happened 50 years earlier. So we said, oh my God, this is going to be problematic.
Well,
okay, let me point something out here. This is probably the only part where this guy is actually truthful. It's quite amazing how that narrative will change depending upon who's in power. But did you catch the part, folks, when he said 50 years ago? 50 years ago, they had discovered that coronavirus makes a very good weapons platform.
Yep, they were making bioweapons in Wuhan, China,
Yep.
Because it was not allowed on the American continent. Canada was not allowed to do so. America and Mexico was not allowed to do so. So they went overseas.
There's actually I'm looking into something. There's a tie to actually a bio lab in Winnipeg, in Canada.
Yeah, there was wasn't there some Chinese scientists that were arrested in that deal?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the same thing.
And they also worked in Wuhan, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that says enough,
Yeah, they were literally caught transferring specimens on public planes, flying back and forth to China from Canada. And same thing for the United States.
Yeah.
They were carrying the shit right on the freaking plane.
Yeah, and then wonder how come people get sick. It's just like,
Yeah, gee.
how does that happen? Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And that's the things that our governments, none of them want to talk about.
Yeah.
Let's continue right here real quick with this guy. I'll get done with this knucklehead. And see how his narrative changes.
Mr.
Hotez warned
Poophead.
against fast-tracking a vaccine. He was appointed by Anthony Fauci to lead an NIH program with pharmaceutical executives, the Gates Foundation, and others that did exactly that. In May 2020, anticipating public concern about what he had admitted was rushed testing, potentially unsafe products, and a new platform, Hotez wrote that the communications and missteps around the rollout of COVID-19 vaccines may require a period of damage control, and called for the White House and NIH to shape a well-crafted vaccine communication plan and designate a trusted spokesperson who can articulate and carry the message, an apparent reference to himself. Once the FDA had given emergency use authorization, Hotez reversed his public stance.
So what's your reaction to this approval then of this second vaccine?
It's fantastic. The emergency use authorization closely approximates the full approval process. So
You
there's
got your money.
nothing really rushed. Any vaccine.
Go ahead, Roger.
You got your money, man. It's like here we have a lot of money, you know, to just sell our product, and then suddenly he changes. Oh, it was a good product, you know. Nothing wrong with that. We haven't tested it. Oops, sorry, said that. You know, and he got his money, man. He's driving around in the Porsche and stuff like that. You know, it's
Well, we can't say anything we can't prove.
well,
Exactly.
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true, but he does change his stance on the subject, you know.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Keep playing it. You'll get more riled up, Roger.
Makes me angry, man.
Released by emergency use authorization by the FDA is an outstanding vaccine. Take whatever vaccine is really offered to you.
Hotez said that once enough people were injected with 2 doses, viral transmission would stop and other measures would no longer be necessary.
Yeah, hear that? Okay, let's see what happens.
Sorry.
News is good. It's saying even after 6 months, it still looks like it's really strong and durable. So this is going to be a long-lasting vaccine.
You know, here's something I'd like to interject. Everything we say, we have to prove. And even that doesn't stop us from getting pinched.
Yeah.
But yet this guy can come up and spew this bullshit. When
He's only starting to spew it.
None of this had any clinical proof.
Single dose is not very effective, but 2 doses fully vaccinated people are. A week or 2 after the second dose, the masks can start to come off. And guess what? You can have everything you've asked for in terms of not requiring social distancing and masks. We can have an extraordinary quality of life. This is time limited. It's not in perpetuity, Wolf. This is not in perpetuity. We are going to vaccinate our way out of this epidemic starting in the summer. If enough Americans get vaccinated, we could actually halt virus transmission potentially. You know, if you do the simple math, I did a back of the envelope calculation. Once you get over,
I can do a back of the envelope calculation too. I can figure out this guy's full of shit.
65% of the population with a single dose of the vaccine and 50% 2 doses, the amount of transmission will really start to decline. 60 to 70%, 60 to 80% threshold. We need to get to about 75% before we interrupt transmission.
Shut up, man.
Three-quarters
I mean,
of the US
come on.
population. Roughly 80%.
My ears are bleeding when I hear this guy, you know.
Hold on. It gets way better. It gets way better, Roger. It gets way better.
Of the U.S. population.
2 doses turned to 3.
I think ultimately a third immunization with the mRNA vaccines will probably be needed at some point. We thought there was a pretty high likelihood we might have to give a third immunization down the line anyway at some point, because we had no idea about the durability of any protection of any of these vaccines. So if you got a 2-dose.
Did you hear that there? Did you
hear I heard. You know,
ability of
it's
any
amazing.
protection of any of these.
We didn't know anything about the durability. Doesn't that counter their claim that he just fucking made?
Yep, it does.
It's amazing, man.
God, I'd like to bitch slap the fuck.
Vaccine. So if you got a 2-dose Pfizer Moderna vaccine, think of it as a 3-dose vaccine. We ultimately will need to give a third immunization, and I've been pretty much saying that all along. This was always a 3-dose vaccine.
No, you haven't.
So this was all predicted.
Oh, God damn it.
Yep. Went from this is a very durable vaccine to this is not very durable. We're gonna have to
People
give
don't know
more.
I haven't watched this whole thing yet. This is my first time watching it, so.
It makes me angry, man, because a lot of
Feel bad, Roger. Feel bad.
There are so many.
Pop a cork, and I don't do that very often.
There are so many people that have like disabilities because of this whole inoculation bullshit. You know, and it's very, very sad to see. These people are not compensated, you know, because, it's your own choice, right? No, these people were pressured. They were pressured by government.
I have direct personal experience of that.
All right,
I know.
continuing.
And predictable. I've always said this is a 3-dose vaccine. 2 mRNA vaccines were always a 3-dose vaccine. We've known for a while that this was going to be a 3-dose vaccine. The big unknown is what happens to those of us who got 3 doses. I don't have the answer. You need that third immunization to get a 30 to 40-fold rise. After you get that third immunization, you do get a big boost in virus neutralizing antibodies.
By November 2021, the US population had met what Hotez and the government called fully vaccinated.
Today, we hit 2 important milestones. 80% of adults now have at least their first shot, and 70% of adults are now fully vaccinated.
But the goalposts were shifted, and the booster campaign was just getting started.
And we're going to have to change the definition of fully vaccinated. What counts as full immunization will be 3 doses just because we gave those first 2 doses so close together. The idea that 2 immunizations constitutes full immunizations is not even close. You need that booster, and you probably
Yeah, you need a 4th and a 5th and a 6th and the 7th and a 100th, and you know, it's like, oh my God, man.
You know what I want to know?
Don't steal his glory there, Roger.
What I want to know is, how in the hell does a person like this literally live with themselves? How do they do that?
He's a snake, man.
This man has not an ounce of fucking integrity at all. None.
Oh, it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse as you keep playing
the second booster. If you've gotten a single boost and you're eligible, get your second boost.
The solution here is just continue mass vaccination as aggressively as possible.
That's right.
Are you?
Oh, fuck off. Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Expecting, as a result, for these vaccines to essentially become a twice yearly thing?
Of course, with mRNA, that may be what's required. You need 2 boosters. You're going to need a 3rd booster. 2 boosts really makes the difference. Get your second.
2 boosters. They've been available for a little over a week. Who should get them?
Well, anyone who's eligible. Once you're more than out 4 or 5 months from your last booster.
No matter where you're at, maximize out your vaccinations. And even if you've gotten a single booster, you need 2 boosters.
Now's the time to get a booster if you haven't been boosted in a while.
2 to 4 months out, you're going to need a 3rd booster as well, a 5th immunization. 3rd boosters, meaning 5th immunizations, new bivalent booster. You want to get Paxlovid. That gives you an extra layer of protection as well. You need to get that booster. People need to get their bivalent booster. And
The important message that I have this morning is get your new bivalent booster. If you've not gotten it, you have to get it.
They're talking about the 3rd shot. And is that the bivalent, or is it the 4th booster, or does it matter? Like, can you help?
She can't even keep track of how fucking many they are. You know, this is akin to having a flat tire and you keep putting air in the son of a bitch, but yet you never plug the damn hole.
And the tire gets flat again, you know. And
Exactly.
Then, oh, we got some air here, you know. Yeah. It's like, what the hell,
Holy
man?
crap, I can't believe
Me understand.
So before Elise was asking me that very question, I said, don't worry so much about the number of boosters. Worry about when you got your last booster.
Okay.
Attempting to boost ourselves out of this pandemic is, in my opinion.
Wait a minute. I think YouTube banned this guy. I'm pretty sure.
The immunological equivalent of heroin addiction. Okay. And
yep, I'm right. They banned this guy.
What I mean by that is that we're trying to get, we're trying to squeeze more and more benefit, but which we're not getting. We're getting less and less benefit for more and more risk of side effects. The more doses, the worse it gets. So this is counterproductive. It's not just that it's not working; it's counterproductive.
When Johnson & Johnson's product was pulled after causing blood clots,
the J&J vaccine
does cause a rare serious event, cerebral thrombotic event.
Hotez continued to push them.
Well, I don't have concern about the vaccine. It's a good vaccine. It's an excellent vaccine.
After years of blaming,
I'd like to ask this guy, how many jabs have you got, guy?
0, I bet. You know, it's like he's selling it and he's not even using it himself. You know, and lots of people do this. So for the money, man.
Oh.
the unvaccinated for the virus, demanding censorship and seeking to criminalize criticism.
Demanding censorship and criminalizing people who dissent. Imagine that. Imagine that.
Hotez casually admitted that the injections, in fact, don't stop transmission.
We are not stopping infection anyway, but no, the booster's actually keeping people out of the hospital.
Well, Peter Hotez demands censorship.
Sorry, people. I don't normally lose my cool like that, but
yeah, that can boil the blood.
And shove it right up that guy's. Yeah.
That can boil the blood, you know. It's like, oh my God, you got this nerdy type, you know, and selling all this shit, and it's like, what the hell, man? You know, he's swimming in money and basically giving no crap about other people, you know, and he's living the rich life now. Been on television, got contracts for that, you know. You're a television doctor. Yeah, people trust that. Really sickening, man. Really, really sickening. What has the world become? I'm sorry, I'm on a tangent here.
You know, that right there is a good representation of you got to be absolutely brain dead to listen to that and to not understand that this whole damn thing that they've done the past 3 years was the largest sham pulled on humanity. And unfortunately, it's not without consequences.
Yeah, they're playing with us, you know. If they want to wage a war, it's not their sons going to war, right? It's our sons and daughters, the neighbors and whatever, you know. Not theirs. Nope. They control the enemy in most cases, right?
It's not, the thing is, Roger, they literally destroyed families, they destroyed friends, they destroyed economics, they destroyed communities and societies. You couldn't go to church, but you could go to a fucking BLM protest.
Yeah, because that's politically motivated, you know.
Why they had the mayor of the town out there dancing around like it's some fucking festival.
You know.
Oh, I gotta calm down. I'm swearing way too much. Sorry about that, Brian.
Isn't there like a state somewhere where there's like mud coming out of the taps, of the water taps, you know? You could light the water on fire and stuff like that. It's really amazing. My question is, you guys got a lot of money spending it on this and that. Why can't you know, have good drinking water, you know? It's really, really weird.
Oh. You know, and the thing of it is, I want to point this out. This is only one aspect of everything that's been going on these past few years. How they've changed definitions of things, definitions of words. Literally to accomplish not just this, but many other things that they've done. And it's just like with the WHO and the WEF and the all these things they want to push through with the UN and the ESGs and every other acronym you could think of. It's all the same bullshit.
Basically, it is.
And by the way, I apologize, everybody. I don't normally lose my cool like this, but damn, this pisses me off. You know, yeah, I'm not going to get personal, but I managed to change the mind of somebody in my family finally this past week.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Well, that's one step forward, right?
Yeah. Well, that video sums up what has gone on, how the government has lied to us in just one aspect over the last 3 years.
Well, it's been across the board in all these things. They're doing it with the economics. They're doing it with their next thing is going to be climate change. You look at what they're doing there in the Netherlands.
Well,
you know,
Canada.
They're going to do the same damn things here, or try to anyway.
Yep. And over there, you guys have a Second Amendment, you know, and you are allowed to defend yourself.
I'm not going to talk about that one, Roger, because I will definitely get dinged if I give my opinion on that one.
Yeah, like I say, that's just one aspect of what's been going on, and it will get a lot worse if we don't start holding people accountable. Right now, we may have a chance to do this peacefully if people actually hear that. The link is on the description. I suggest everybody have that available to show people.
Thank you, Stephanie, for your comment. Fracking contaminated the tap water. That's what basically happened over there in, where was it? Somewhere in the U.S.
Yeah. You know, everybody has a phone. Everybody has the ability to download all this stuff, have it on your phone, and at any opportunity, show this to people. That's what I do. And it's amazing how many people I have woken up, or at least at the time questioned what was going on.
Yeah, people forget that they have influence themselves, you know. Just go on social media, talk about the topics, the issues, geopolitics, history, whatever.
It's more than that. Going on social media and talking about it, in reality, is not going to do a thing unless you take that one step further and contact your local government, your provincial or whatever state or whatever government, and contact your federal representatives. Because talking about it on social media isn't going to change things. Although there is one thing, most government representatives have Twitter and have Facebook accounts. Go there, voice your opinion on their social media accounts. Most government officials have very little traffic on their social media accounts. That's a way to bring attention that people are starting to question.
Georgia Peach, Wanda McLean isn't Wanda E. Wanda E is another person. Just make that clear.
Well, hello, Wanda and Wanda.
Unless both Wandas are in chat, and I missed it.
Oh, yeah, yes. Both Wandas are in.
Wanda E is.
She snuck in. Good on you. Good to see you here, Wanda. Good, both of you.
Yeah.
You know, I guess when it comes to about the topic tonight, when it comes to the divide, this is the kind of stuff that they use to ruse people.
Yes.
And until you see the whole progression laid out to you at once, a lot of people don't see it.
Tracy.
How you doing, Tracy?
Hello, Tracy.
And that's the thing is, you got to put this in front of people.
Yes, you do.
You got to put it in front of your politician.
Yeah, well, I'd say we need to go green. We need some good sturdy oak and some hemp rope.
Oh, jeez.
Come on, I just want to build bridges, Dan. Just want to build bridges.
Yeah.
God, that's got my blood boiling.
Oh, I'm glad you didn't look at that before you played it.
Oh,
I've had time to digest that. So the anger didn't subside, but at least I could find a little bit of it's so ridiculous. I can do nothing but laugh at it, right?
Yeah, you were able to process it. Wow.
There's a new thing they have now where it's called slap, where two people stand up to a podium and they bitch slap each other until somebody falls down or gets knocked out.
Yeah.
I'd like to challenge this little cocksucker to one of these.
He won't go on any kind of debate, so not
I
likely
don't
he'll
want to
get him
debate
up
him.
at
I
that
just want to
podium.
bitch slap him. There's no debate. He done debated himself right into a hole.
Yeah.
Hey, MC, you might be right.
Oh, God, I can't believe that.
A left-handed cigarette. Okay. Yeah.
You know, and the thing with it is, it's these kind of people, I'll be nice, that go on to these mainstream news stations and literally bullshit people into believing this stuff and scare the hell out of people.
Yeah.
You know, even today, I saw a guy walk into the damn mechanic shop with a freaking mask on. Only one, mind you, only one. But I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. How can you be that detached from what's going on? But then I have to think, if the only thing that you have for information is the mainstream news, that right there in itself proves, I mean, the damn reporter couldn't even get her shit straight.
That was Mika Brzezinski. That's the daughter of Zbigniew Brzezinski, who wrote The Grand Chessboard. You know,
Imagine that.
was a foreign advisor for many presidents.
Don't hear you, Roger.
I heard him.
I heard him.
Okay.
It, you know, if the so-called reporter or whatever you want to call them nowadays don't know if they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boosters, that should be a big harm.
Very sad, because when you have the news come on, you have these ads, right? And the first thing you see is Big Pharma, you know. Really sad to see. People are so brainwashed. Don't even know their own history. It's, you know, yeah.
I don't want to imagine Big Dice at the moment. My fucking blood's boiling so bad it isn't funny.
Yeah.
And to think I put my ass on the line for these cocksuckers just pisses me off even more.
Yeah, what did they say about the blind? Right? Show them the way because they can't see. You know.
Yeah.
Something like that. Anyway, it's 5 in the morning, and I
All
still
right,
need to
Roger.
sleep.
Hey, thanks for coming up, Dag. I appreciate it.
Great to hear from you, Roger.
Cool thing, man. Cool thing. I'll see you guys next time.
All right,
All
take
right.
care, man. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what more I could say about that video.
Oh, I could say a lot more about that video. I could say a whole shit ton about that video.
Yeah, I think though it might be a little bit self-explanatory. That
It's something to do with a pig trough and a cattle prod.
Yeah, that pretty much covers. Pretty much covers everything, everybody, all the departments in governments across the world on how this was handled. The propaganda, and there is just one other. I think there's one other quick one there too, from the director of the CDC.
I got two of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll. Yeah, give me one sec. Oh shit! So fucking pissed. I can't think.
Breathe, breathe.
Oh.
Thank you for jumping up, Roger.
Yes, thanks, Roger.
Our data from the CDC today suggests, that vaccinated people do not carry the virus, don't get sick, and that it's not just in the clinical trials, but it's also in real world data.
What clinical trials? Oh, and that's the woman that just resigned, and she never was the director of the CDC.
Apparently, that's what the. Yeah.
One sec, Brian.
There is a clear message that is coming through. This is becoming a pandemic of the unvaccinated.
And we're seeing it in the data. Unvaccinated Americans account for virtually all recent COVID-19 hospitalizations and deaths.
Oh, fuck.
We still, to this day, do not have data on people who are coming into the hospitals who are vaccinated. That is a data point that we have lacked. There is a clear message that is coming through. This is becoming a pandemic of the unvaccinated.
And we're seeing it in the data. Unvaccinated Americans account for virtually all recent COVID-19 hospitalizations and deaths.
We still, to this day.
Yeah, and this is when she's
who are coming into the hospitals who are vaccinated. That is the point that we have lacked. There is a
Oh,
clear
imagine
message that is coming.
lying. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done with the videos, Brian. I'm about to really go.
It's wound you up enough.
This is called Let's See If We Can Make Robert Go Pop.
Yeah. So, and the links to all those videos are in the description. Feel free to keep them handy to show people, because it's
anybody that can look at those and not realize that they have been lied to, and they still want to argue with another one over politics. when literally your health and your well-being for the rest of your life, that of your children and your grandchildren, are literally directly affected by this. But people want to argue over their fucking politics.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, yeah. It boils down to politics, but those who are on both sides of the climate change issue, those on the opposite ends of the race issue, those that are on the opposite ends of the LGBTQ issue.
Yep, same thing with immigration, all that shit. And
Yeah.
it's the same story, same playbook, just a different damn thing.
Yeah.
And they're doing the same shit with all of it.
So with all the divided issues, you're going to find yourself on the opposite side of at least one of those issues. And that's where we have to come together and realize that not everybody thinks alike. That we are going to have to put some of our disagreements aside and start.
There's another part to it too, Brian. People are going to have to get rid of the idea that when you're showed how this has been played out, just like that video of that first moron.
Yeah.
If you can watch that and then still think that that's a good idea, you're a special kind of something.
Well, if
and
they
it goes across to all these things, Brian. There's when I say politics, this isn't a damn high school football game. How we're governed and how people do are directly related to all of us. It doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on when it comes to politics. What we have now is you have organizations of people who are literally untouchable that are making moves to rule us all. Not just because you're a Democrat, not just because you're a Republican, not just because you're pro-LGBTQ or pro-immigrant or non-pro-immigrant or whatever. That's all BS to keep you distracted. But when they come up and they say, papers, please, and this is no joke, if the WHO stuff goes through, that's exactly what's going to happen. And we all know where that leads to.
Yeah.
We all know where it led to once before. So
more than just once. You look at Mao when he took over China and where China's at.
Yeah.
He killed more people, arguably, than all the wars combined. But they don't ever talk about that.
Yeah.
No.
That might hurt Winnie the Pooh's fifis. And I say that with all of the most loving things I can give for Xi Jinping. You Winnie the Pooh looking little motherfucker. He hates that too. Pisses him right off. I hope he listens to this. That time kiss my ass.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta shut up. I'm gonna get you dinged, Brian.
I think you might have already done that.
No warning yet. So
Wait for it. It's coming.
Yeah.
Especially if Robert keeps watching videos.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. There's 4 links in the description that that if you show people should help them convince people that that we've been lied to over the past. Well, on this particular issue, we've been lied to for a lot longer than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the little dink said it himself. 50 years.
Yeah.
You know, I guess when it comes to talking to other people, and me, Brian, and actually, it sounds like Miss T2 has now had some breakthrough with family and friends. You know, beings that we were ostracized by many out in society.
Mm-hmm.
But with the stuff coming out now, it's a lot easier to get people to open their eyes a little bit and see that they have been lied to.
Yeah.
And the more people that you can get, and as I said, if you look at the percentages of people who haven't taken any boosters in all of our countries,
Yeah.
even those on the left, not all of them are stupid either. We may not agree with their politics, but at least they've got the inkling that something isn't right. They just need a little push and help to bring them about. Show them this, and then maybe they'll understand that all ain't what it seems.
Yeah.
Well, what I am finding for myself is that people that were, shall we say, thought differently to myself because of my experience, my personal experience. Some of those individuals have actually come to me and asked about my son and apologized because of what they're beginning to learn now. And I said, thank you. There was no need to apologize. You're not the one that needs to apologize. But the thousands that have been affected, or even millions, shall we say, really do need support and help worldwide because they feel forgotten.
Oh.
And Big Dice, I'm the least of my worries right now is getting a strike. The worst thing that can happen right now is that this video gets taken down. So far I have
which is
I have
horseshit.
no warnings or not even a warning. So worst thing that can happen is I can get a warning. I'm not about to delete comments.
Worst thing that could happen is Robert blows the top. Oh, hang on, he already has.
Yeah.
You know, but that's the thing, though, Dan. This stuff here is so ludicrous.
It is.
Oh. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the only thing we can do is take the information that we're gathering and share it one-on-one outside of social media. Because in all reality, we're in a pretty small bubble when we're just on social media.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very tiny bubble.
We got to affect the real world.
Yeah.
Contrary to popular belief, the channels that we all frequent are very tiny by comparison.
How you doing, Janice?
Hello, Janice.
Hey, Janice.
You know, and there is no one thing or one right way we have to talk to people. We have to find ways to set aside petty shit. And I got to quit using the petty thing. We got to set aside personal agendas and look at where the proverbial rubber meets the road.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
We have to.
Big choice.
Yeah. Well, on that note, I think I'm going to shut it down and
thanks for everybody showing up. And again, I apologize for losing my cool. I don't normally do that.
Good to see everybody. Thank you for coming. Come again next time.
Hopefully this video doesn't get taken down.
yeah, freedom's a lot of work. But
I'll add to that, AMC. Go and talk
future.
to real people in the real world.
Absolutely.
And ask lots of questions and see how people think, and then throw some ideas at them.
Just show them the truth.
You'll be surprised what happens when you just point and say, "Hey, have you seen this?"
And just remember, you're not going to win them all. You never are going to win them all.
Yeah, get it. Don't be afraid to talk to one-on-one. I do it every day, and so far I'm still around. A gentle approach is the best approach.
Yeah.
Getting angry.
No. I'm sorry. You put me in the same room with Hotez. It isn't going to be gentle.
you can't use the club on everybody and just drag them off into a cave somewhere. It doesn't work all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, on that note, we're going to end it. Everybody have a good evening, and hope you're all out there tomorrow spreading the news.
Stay awesome, everybody.
Take care, everyone.